Yes guys, just here, back with another video. You read the title. We have massive liquidity piling up above us. We have funding rates extremely low right now, as you can see on this chart over here. And we have a lot of data points to be going through. As you can see, liquidity is piling up on the upside and a short squeeze is incoming in my opinion. So I have a lot of charts prepared for you guys. So let's get straight away in towards the content without wasting time, and let's pick up from where we last left off. So before we do that, make sure to smack up the like button. Let's try get above 100 likes again. And yeah, without being said, let's get straight away in towards this banger. Out. You can see here guys, we have the Wyckoff schematic, and this is exactly what I was talking about last time, in towards the Trump election where he was elected actually, exactly as predicted. And I was talking about a massive markup phase into phase E. And as you can see here guys, we exactly predicted that, and we had a massive markup into phase E. So hopefully you guys took advantage, and you can see Bitcoin has been pumping exactly as predicted. We just shattered through that 73k resistance, and you can see we've been pumping up ever since. We've marked up more than 50% since that point where we had the massive resistance levels from previous all-time highs, and you can see we marked up so aggressively. It was a massive volatile move. It was so obvious in hindsight, and I'm seeing a massive opportunity in the market again. So make sure to watch until the end and smash up that like button, and let's go on to the next chart. So as you can see here, we were punching in a massive cup and handle pattern, and we didn't break the neckline yet. And this was the exact ghost pattern that I was looking at from the 2020 fractal. And you can see, if we go into the chart right now, we have exactly played out that fractal to the T, and we've got that sharp pullback just like the fractal. And then you can see shortly after that pullback, we had a massive rally to the upside. And I'm seeing this fractal play out to the absolute T, and the conditions are looking very similar. So of course we can have a bit more downside in the imminent short term, but I'm still seeing a massive rally to the upside. So let's look at different charts to just determine when is the best opportunity to be getting in on the market. So just this chart over here, you can see that we have a projected target in and around the 120k mark, and that's essentially from your cup and handle, from the base to the neckline. And I've taken it from the point of the breakout, and it lines up perfectly with 120k. So I've taken it as my base case for a massive local top, maybe not a cycle top. We may come in towards that target towards the end of Q1 before we have that selling may and go away again. We consolidate again, we range for a bit, and then we mark up really strong at the end of the year. But I'm using 120k as my base case. So you can see we have our range lows, our mid-range, our range highs, and our range quarters using 50% levels from each, or the 75 and 25% levels, which is the same thing. So you can see we've decisively broke above that point, and we're holding it as support right now. We had a massive wick off of some news. So as you can see on the screen there, we have a summary of the Fed decision, and essentially we had a rate cut. However, comments from Powell led to markets actually responding negative. So we were looking for 3 rate cuts, but you can see that the Fed hinted towards 2 rate cuts next year, which the market didn't take quite well. And as you can see on the screen, we had the S&P come down, and we had Bitcoin also pull back as well. So the S&P came back 4%, and the volatility index, the VIX, spiked up 74% on the day, showing extreme fear and extreme panic in the market, and Bitcoin came down about 12%. But as you can see by this tweet, we had a massive convergence and catch-up trade I was talking about from the S&P and Bitcoin, and for Bitcoin to only come down around 12% when the S&P come down a whole 8%, that is absolutely amazing. Like, we will take 3% to the downside and 10% to the upside any day of the week. Bitcoin is still extremely strong in the longer time frames. So this was what's been happening, and that's why we had the pullback recently. So as you can see on the screen, the next few days we had a core PCE readings, and inflation actually came back a bit more soft. So this is looking extremely good for markets, because this means that next year the Fed is going to have enough data to actually back up the decision to cut rates more. So essentially it's got a bit worse before it's got better, and I'm seeing us actually have a positive 2025. And to be fair, the worst case scenario is now out of the market, so that's really good, and it's looking like it's only up from here. So I'm taking advantage of this dip, and I'm advising you guys as well. Of course, I can only tell you what I'm doing. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do think, in my opinion, it's a great opportunity to actually be scaling into the market right now. So as you can see here, the S&P had a massive crash towards this level of support right now, and it briefly just filled the gap just here, and essentially it had a nice pullback all the way back to the upside, and it's starting to retrace a little bit. So we want to see the S&P actually hold this level of support, potentially put in a higher low, and just continue to the upside as normal. And this will create a great environment for Bitcoin to continue to mark up to the upside. So we can see on the screen here that the dollar currency index, the DXY, which is a basket of other currencies against the US dollar, started to go up after that news. So just to pick up from last time, we had a rally in towards the elections. The dollar was strong, Trump got elected. That was not to be worried about, and I talked about a deviation back towards our level of support. But essentially, we had FOMC that caused another rally, and I just think it is nonsense. I do still think that we are going to maybe deviate again like this and continue our trajectory downwards as we were previously. It's just a bit of jitters in the market, a few scares in the market that's causing this to actually start to go up, as people are looking to move their money from essentially stock market, Bitcoin, wherever, so risk assets, in towards the safe haven, which is the dollar, which is viewed as less risky, which led to this chart actually going up. So I think when the noise is essentially cleared and inflation data continues to come out, especially in January and February, and market participants realize that it's nothing to worry about, we're still going to get rate cuts, this is definitely having the right environment to start coming down. So for the longer time frame for the stock market, we're still punching in higher highs and higher lows. So I'm still bullish. I still think that this is still going to continue to trend upwards in towards the end of the bull market. So there's no scares on our side, especially for crypto, because we know that crypto is correlated towards the stock market. It has a positive correlation coefficient. So we have to pay attention to what the stock market is doing. And I'm still seeing an uptrend. The trend is a friend to the end of the trend. So this is still good. We're still looking bullish, and I'm still seeing the stock market even move in towards 7,000 potentially by the end of the cycle. But we have to just monitor it month by month and see what the economic climate is looking like and other news to determine if that's still a possibility on the table. As we still can't move towards 5,000, we can break the trend and start reversing, but that will come off of some major news. So that's lower probability in my opinion. I don't see that happening. So I'm still looking for higher prices on the stock market. Just briefly covering the USDT dominance, you can see that we started to bounce from this level of support, and this is not the best as well for crypto, as money is moving away from Bitcoin and other altcoins in towards USDT, which is essentially DXY, but for crypto, it's your stable coin that doesn't move up or down. It's pegged towards dollar 1-to-1. So this is essentially illustrating that we are having short-term scares in the market. But if we're able to create a lower high over here and start to actually mark down and lose this trend line, then that's going to be extremely bullish for markets. That's going to be extremely bullish for crypto. We're going to see altcoins flying. We're going to see Bitcoin actually trending upwards, and things are going to be looking good. As you can see, the vertical lines of the screen, every time we've bounced from this 7-year trend line, it's been massive warning signs. It's marked every single market top. You can actually go back and backtest this to see that this is perfectly timed the cycle tops. So this is something to watch out for. We've actually lost the trend line, and we're starting to bounce off key horizontals. So again, it's not going to be the best if we start trending towards yearly open, because this would just be a double bottom, and we may reject from this trend line further down, but that would potentially signal that we may come down all the way to around 70k or so if we start to move to 5.36 on the US tether dominance. But I do think that that's very unlikely. I'm still seeing that we've broken down from this trend line, so all we're doing is just retesting it, and then we're going to potentially have room to actually move to the downside, where we're going to have a raging alt season, and that just comes down to the seasonality. So as you can see here, we have Bitcoin quarterly returns and Ethereum quarterly returns, and Q1 is always the best for Ethereum. However, Q4 is the best for Bitcoin. As we mentioned previously, we have 85% quarterly returns, and we're about to get the monthly close, which would look in this year's Q4, and you'll see is massively positive. However, Ethereum typically in Q4 doesn't perform as well, but in Q1 it actually outperforms massively. So as you can see by Mr. Crypto, he talks about Q4 is the best for Bitcoin and Q1 is the best for Ethereum, and I completely agree. I think that this is definitely the case. So altcoin season is still on the table. We're still going to be looking for USDT dominance to actually start coming down. So I won't be too scared to see this move up just a little bit and retest that upslope trend line. The broader picture, the macro environment, timing cycles, post-halving year returns, it all points towards a big alt season, and we have Bitcoin dominance actually doing the inverse of this chart, which we'll go into now. So I think that this is a nice retest and potentially we have room to actually move down. We just don't want to print another green candle here on the weekly time frame, or that would be quite concerning and we have to reevaluate things again. So as you can see, Bitcoin dominance, we've lost the support right here and we're looking for a massive breakdown of this rising wedge pattern, and we've broken down and retested it. So we're looking for it to come down, and you can see every time that we've had massive moves down in the Bitcoin dominance, we had a massive alt season, and I'm seeing the exact same thing play out. I'm seeing this trend continue. If we go on to the 12-month time frame, you have typically one massive candle, 3 green candles, and then one massive red candle, 3 green yearly candles, and I think the next red candle in the year is going to be a massive red one, which will mean money flowing out of Bitcoin into altcoins, and that's maximum opportunity for us to actually take advantage. But if you're enjoying the video, again, make sure to smash up that like button, and if you're looking to take advantage of this opportunity, I've recently been affiliated with Blofin, and this is a massively great exchange. They are one of the best I would see. They're no KYC, they have about 10,000 US dollars in deposit bonuses, and they are withdrawable. Once you do trade on it and make some profit, you can withdraw the profit, and you can see that Blofin are actually an exchange that have third-party custodians, so they have fire blocks and they have 0 fees as well. So again, it's really good opportunity. I think Blofin is one of the best exchanges out there. So if it's legal to trade in your country, I think it's no KYC, so anyone can sign up without any extra red tape, any documents and things, and you have amazing deals going on right there. So I'll definitely looking towards using Blofin and take advantage of this alt season that's up and coming. So when you click the link down below, it will come up with this page. All you have to do is just type in your email and then your password, and then you hit the terms and conditions after reading it, and you just hit sign up. Then you confirm it on your email, and it's as simple as that. It takes about 2 minutes, and you could be trading from there. You can deposit some money and take advantage of the exchange bonuses once you do deposit, and then start taking advantage of these opportunities that I'm going to be bringing to the channel. So you can see previously we've had massive inflows from the Bitcoin ETF. Only recently, due to FOMC, there's a bit of jitters in the market. There's a few scares in the market as that we've been pulling back. So there's been a few outflows. However, in the broader perspective, these guys are still accumulating. Smart money is still accumulating. So I think it's a massive opportunity to just continue to buy in the dip. Don't sell your coins. Don't get shaken out, because we're about to enter that massive parabolic stage where we move towards 120,000 US dollars for Bitcoin. So looking at the Fear and Greed Index, you can see that we were in extreme greed 93, and we've come all the way back down to 70, which is just greed. So you can see sentiment is actually coming down. We're not as greedy. Things are not popping as much. Volatility is lowered. Momentum is slowed down, and you can see that we're starting to move back on fear and greed, and I just think opportunities are just showing up left, right, and center. So just keep your eyes peeled. Don't keep your finger off the pulse. Of course, it's the holiday season now, so Merry Christmas to you guys if I haven't said that already. And I just think after this year, into Q1 next year, we have a lot of opportunity to take advantage of. So looking at the liquidations, you can see right here on the 24-hour, we have a lot of liquidity above us at 96.6K, around 97K, all the way up to 99K over there. So we can definitely squeeze up and actually take out the confident shorts that keep on adding to positions. And if we go into the 1 week time frame for the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, you can clearly see that the majority of liquidity is to the upside. We do have a little bit around 90K all the way down to 87K, but I think the majority is still to the upside, so we're most likely to actually move up as opposed to down. But let's go through the scenarios and see if we can actually start moving down. So you can see on the screen here, I have 2 scenarios. One is where we break out this falling wedge right now. We have bullish divergence, as you can see over here, and we have our momentum oscillator, the stochastic RSI, actually taken upwards and massively oversold. We've spent a lot of time since last Wednesday up until now below the 20 mark, which just shows that bears had full control and we're starting to leave that area. So I do think that it's more likely that we're going to have a move up and then a decision point from around 102k level after we take out all the liquidity to the upside, and then potentially we can actually come down all the way to 87k if bulls can't continue to push price towards the measured move, which is around 106.7k level all the way to 108k level. That is something to be watching out for. So as you can see here, we had bearish divergence. We were in this upward sloping parallel channel. We've broken down from the support. We retested it and came down as bulls failed to actually break back above this level to actually return momentum to the upside. So I think sideways choppy price action at the very least is definitely a possibility, and maybe a slight return to key support levels is a possibility too before we actually start moving up. That's completely fine. I just think we have to be aware of all the scenarios. However, in the imminent short term, we can maybe try again, and if bulls fail to actually break above and punch in a nice higher high and continue maybe a slow uptrend, a slow grind before we actually start going massively parabolic, then I do think that we can definitely come up a little bit more and then actually start moving down. It's low volatility, it's the holiday weekend, we have Christmas in a few days as well, so it's potentially likely we can actually start coming down before actually going up and returning to these levels where we clear the last long liquidations, and then we actually start moving up just in towards the start of January. Now the reason I say this is because the on-chain metrics are showing extremely low funding rates. You can see that the majority are short. You can see on OKX their funding rates are even negative. So this just shows that majority of traders are short and the majority is always wrong, looking at the statistics. So it's likely that we can have a short-term bounce at least in the market before we actually start coming down further, just to liquidate these people in the market. And you can see on the liquidation heat map, we have a nice pocket at 99.6, and then we can actually float up to around 103k before actually targeting that lower side liquidity. So in our imminent short term, you can see that we've broken out of this trend line now, and this is a decent risk reward trade. I do think that this is a level where if we do fail to break above and we come down, then we can go to the liquidity below. So put in stop losses just below here. Again, this is what I'm doing. You don't have to follow. This is not financial advice. I think that a nice bounce is incoming. We have a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders here. We have a descending trend with a lot of liquidity here. You can see trendline liquidity is key. A lot of shorters have been shorting and leaving the stop losses here, 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 and here as well. So we can actually float up and start taking some of those players out before actually moving a lot further down. That's definitely a possibility. We're in a bullish control zone in the 2-hourly time frame where we can spend some time, and we're reclaiming the mid-range on our RSI. So our stochastic RSI, we're at the bullish control zone, and our relative strength index, we're about to reclaim the mid-range. So I think that it's possible that we can actually start to squeeze a lot higher. And on our 12-hourly time frame, things were oversold, so we can start ticking back upwards and start moving at least to this level over here. And then if we find some resistance around 99k, 100k, big psychological level, we can actually potentially reevaluate things and see if we can get that move down. But I do think that a Christmas rally is due. So as you can see by Mr. Crypto here, in 2016 and 2020, we had a massive Christmas rally, and right now we're approaching that level. So I think this week in towards next week, we can definitely see a rally all the way upwards. Now looking at Ethereum, we have approached massive resistance. You can see over here, we've hit our parallel channel mid-range on the weekly time frame, taking it from 2020, 2021, and we had massive support over here. We were calling for Ethereum longs all the way down here, and you can see we've moved up perfectly and we've rejected from this level as well. So I do think that within this area, if we can reaccumulate and actually start moving up, it's very likely that we're going to punch in new higher highs in towards that 6k mark, and then potentially 7 to 8k by the end of the cycle. Who knows, we might even come up to 10k if we actually break this level and actually start moving up aggressively. And the reason I say that is looking at this chart over here, we have golden crosses, and I've marked it out on the chart, and you can see every time we have a golden cross, we have a massive bullish breakout from Ethereum all the way towards the upside. So I'm seeing the exact same thing here. We had a bullish breakout on the cross, we're retesting it like a magnet, which is very, very common for this strategy, and we're seeing that potentially if these EMAs start angling upwards and stretching out, it will provide massive opportunities for Ethereum to actually finally break above this red horizontal ray. You can see that's provided major resistance. And looking deeper into this, you can see by the vertical lines on the screen, we've always had a massive rally in January for ETH BTC, and we've put at the bottom in December. So within the time period, it's time to be paying attention. As you can see, we have a lot of liquidity always piling up from ETH being oversold, which is followed by a massive rally. So we have the same thing here, and I think over 15 to 20 weeks of bleeding will be erased in about 3 to 4 candles for ETH. It'll be a very quick, explosive move. So this is the time to be paying attention and be establishing long-term positions, because as you can see from the left-hand side here, typically the time to get in is before you have that massive move upwards, and you can already tell that Ethereum historically has amazing returns in Q1, so now's the time to be actually paying attention. So if you're enjoying this, make sure to follow me on Twitter and turn on post notifications, as this is where I update you guys on everything that's going on in the market, and I can bring you guys new trades and things that I'm doing. And if you agree with the analysis, you can take it yourself, as I'm not a financial advisor again. But you can see I posted about Solana just a few days ago, and we were on massive support over there, and we're starting to bounce, and I'm seeing a great opportunity for Solana right now. So let's get all the way in towards the analysis, and you can see we have multiple confluences. We have this massive line of support over here that's previously been resistance, as you can see, and we're turning that into support exactly as stated on the tweet. And we had massive upward sloping support as well, which is the second confluence. We had massive Fibonacci levels of support over here. So as you can see, if we take it from this wave to the top, we pinged in towards the 786 exactly. So that was a massive level, and a great psychological level to buy in the market, as typically your 786 is where you have FUD, you have some fear in the market, people are scared to buy, and I'm not going to be getting bearish on support. I think this is a massive opportunity to be trading Solana back towards its highs and its new highs as well. So this is massive opportunity I'm seeing in the market. It's not too late, we're still on support. It's a good opportunity, I think, to be accumulating in the long term for Solana. As you can see as well, we have 200 EMA support, which is just below this low over here in the market. So if we break that, then we're looking in towards the mid-range over here. But we have tons of support right now for Solana, so I think it's the time to be accumulating. And if Bitcoin can start moving up, it'll create a nice environment and for Solana to start moving higher. And if Bitcoin dominance starts coming down, then again, that's even more confidence for Solana to actually start trading towards its highs. And as you can see, we had Sol BTC actually break down from a symmetrical triangle, and we actually lost support as well, and we picked into this level of support. So I think this is a massive deviation, and if we can start moving higher, then Solana USD will start actually marking up a lot more than the rest of the market. And again, Solana ETH is on massive support. We had a lot of FUD up here, including myself. On my Twitter, I was looking at Solana ETH topping out, and I told you guys that early. So as you can see here, before we actually broke down, I was looking at a Sol ETH top. I was looking at Ethereum. I was really bullish on Ethereum. I was talking about Solana actually losing attention, and the reason that I saw this was because we had pump fund news, and there was so much things going on pump fund. There was so much nonsense, and honestly, I just saw that from that point where things started getting weird on Solana, attention started moving away from Solana, things were getting a bit too overheated, then I was looking at the top. But you can see people are only getting bullish on ETH after we had that breakdown from Sol Ethereum, and I think it's the opposite way around now. So, you know, the crowd is always wrong most of the time. So I think as tension is moving towards Ethereum a lot more, Solana is not dead. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to be actually accumulating Solana, because if we bounce here, this is a massive opportunity to actually be getting in on Solana trades. And even if we print a lower high here and reject from that monthly, it's still an opportunity right now to be catching that bounce over here. So I hope you guys have a great Christmas, have a blessed rest of your day. This is the end of the video. Make sure to slap up that like button again if you enjoy the content, and make sure to be following me on Twitter for consistent updates on the market and trades that I'm looking at and things like that. So I think that there's opportunity in the market. Make sure to watch the video again if you missed any points. And yeah, that's it from me, guys. So have a blessed rest of your day. Peace, guys. See ya. Bye bye.